welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candice Marie. Thanks for joining me. I'll be your astrologer today. Happy Tuesday. I hope your week is off to a great start. I'm back at it with another video today. We're going to be touching on Venus's transit through the sign of Libra. If you guys like this content and you want to see more, make sure you click the bell button below, subscribe to the channel so you know when we have new videos out. I'm here every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday trying to make sense of what's going on in the cosmos. All right, so please also don't forget to like, comment, and share, especially if you have a natal Venus in Libra, or maybe even in the 7th house. I'd love to hear from you guys and how you're going to be spending and enjoying this transit, because it is a sweet one when Venus goes through this particular sign, because Venus is at home. She's in her domicile in Libra. All right, so the dates that we're going to be looking at, Venus won't ingress into Libra until August 29th, so we've got a couple of days. We're going to talk about the trek that Venus will be going through in the sky and the aspects she'll be making with other planets along the way, so you guys can make the best of this transit and be aware of what the themes are. If you hang out to the end, I'll tell you where Venus will be transiting for each and every one of the 12 rising signs. But she'll be spending all the way up until September 22nd in the sign of Libra. So it'll be a couple weeks, it'll be a nice one. And those who are going to be really experiencing this particular shift the most are going to be Taurus and Libra placement. So if you have a Taurus or Libra rising, Venus is your chart ruler. When Venus is on the move, you definitely feel the effects. But also, if you have any personal planets in the sign of Libra, so if you have, Moon, if you've got a North Node there, or your natal Venus, you'll be experiencing your Venus return. So make sure you take a look at your natal chart and see which house Libra is. That's where you will be seeing Venus kind of transit through. So she'll bring some sweetness to that area of your life, a little bit more pleasure and opportunities for better relationships. Now, Venus in astrology in particular, Venus has associations with the Roman goddess of love and fertility, also known as the Greek version, Aphrodite. And this connection is really important because when we study the planets, we have to understand kind of the mythology behind them. Sometimes knowing some of the stories connected to them as well can be really helpful, because it's going to give us an idea of what to expect. So when we think of Venus, goddess of romantic love, certainly this is a time for the next few weeks where we may be able to express our love and our romantic feelings, and kind of be a little bit more vulnerable or focused on partnership. Okay, so this is in preparation to Libra season. We're not there yet. Virgos are still kind of holding that place for now. But we're getting a little bit of a preview of what we're going to be working on throughout Libra season. So, it definitely will really influence our approach to relationships, and whether that's, just romance in general, flirting with people, as well as commitment. So that's something you want to watch for. But it's not limited to just romantic love. It can also be about affection and friendship. So beyond romance, we associate Venus with romantic love, but Venus also rules over platonic relationships. So this is like how we show affection for our friends. It can be our family, it can be our pets. So it's any kind of show of kindness and affection. You can think of this as handshakes, high fives, waving, hugging, all of that stuff as well. Now, I, for one, am stoked. I love to see when Venus either goes through Libra or through Pisces, because this is definitely better time for, a lot of stuff like beauty and art, culture. All of these things get emphasized during this transit. So if you're kind of in the field of art and culture, if you're an artist, if you're a creator, if you have clients, if you work in a partnership, this particular transit can be really, really, really great, because it can give us much more appreciation for these things. And it's not limited to just art. It could be music, it could be literature. Any form of beauty is kind of covered under Venus and Libra as well. This particular transit will have an effect also on our taste in aesthetics, fashion, as well as design. So that's kind of cool because we're coming out of a Mercury retrograde. I know a lot of people have been debating whether or not, well, do I start getting my, fall or winter wardrobe? Is it time for me to kind of change my hair color? Do I want to try a different color palette? These kinds of things. So Venus going into Libra can not only emphasize making some of these kind of changes and choices, but it also brings people into our life who can kind of better direct us. So we can find like better hairstylists, we can help people help us when it comes to home design, maybe even like, purchasing luxury goods, that kind of stuff. So we'll have some help along the way. So it is beneficial for your personal appearance. It doesn't really matter, what house it's going through. You are going to have the ability to kind of be a little bit more charming. It definitely adds some sparkles throughout this transit because Venus represents how we present ourselves. So when we have Venus going through Libra, we're wanting to put our best face forward, and we're seeing that other people are doing the same thing as well. So I definitely feel like this is going to be really emphasizing and enhancing certain signs' physical appearance, especially those of you guys who are ruled by Venus. Personal enjoyment, pleasure, these are themes that are kind of connected to Libra and as well as Venus. So this could cover things like, food and luxury or, socializing. Think of any sensory experience. That's really what's going to get highlighted by a Venus transit because Venus governs pleasure and how we indulge in those pleasures. Now, in the sign of Libra, it's going to be indulging in these things with other people. So it could be our romantic partners, it could be our friends, it could be our clients. So it definitely brings more of an emphasis on socializing because it is in an air sign. Venus has connections as well as connections to comfort, okay? So when we think of like Venus's association with Taurus, that's more natural, it's more grounded, it's more about what I have, what I kind of, desire, my pleasure. Libra is the masculine form of Venus, so it is going to kind of represent, okay, well, where are we taking action? Where are we kind of going outside of ourselves? So when I talk about comfort, it could be about physical comfort, it could be about emotional, ease in relationships, but I also think it's going to be about finding the right people to spend time with. Are we comfortable in our existing relationships? Do we need to grow? Do we need to talk and kind of interact more? So it can kind of enhance already, beneficial relationships, but it can kind of bring up some of these issues that have been uncomfortable recently as Venus has been going through the sign of Virgo. Now, Venus has associations with money and values as well. This is a big topic whenever Venus is on the move. She represents things like wealth and possessions because she does rule over financial values and how we earn or spend or manage our money. So this transit will be positively affecting our attitudes towards wealth, luxury, and material possessions. It's also a really great time for bringing in new clients, right? So if you're in a client-based business, or let's say you have an online website or a marketplace, you offer a good or a service, it's a great time to be showing people, hey, look at what I've created, look at what I've got, don't you want this, or don't you want to work together? Because Venus's qualities in this particular sign is about bringing in other people and becoming part of a team. This is also important for personal values. So Venus doesn't just signify what we value in life. It's not just about material goods, but this is also like ethically and aesthetically. So there can be a lot of, well, I used to value this and now I value that. Obviously it's in an air sign, so it has the opportunity to kind of shift or pivot or base our changes in values off of the relationships that we have to other people or other things. She's also known for social grace, okay? Venus is like the debutante, she is the prom queen, right? She is the beauty queen. So when Venus goes through the sign of Libra, we definitely see that there is more opportunities to kind of connect, be charming, we're a little bit more graceful, we can kind of navigate certain situations with more ease. And it definitely brings a lot of beautiful opportunities when it comes to our social interactions. And it really enhances our social skills, politeness, and our ability to negotiate with other people. I think this is good news. I think we could all use a little bit more harmony in our relationships to others. And I really feel like this transit is going to be putting an emphasis on not just relationships, but like really bringing forth the opportunity to create and maintain harmony in relationships and also in our social environment. Now, Libra is known as the seventh sign of the zodiac. It's cardinal, so it means it needs to be active in doing something. It is traditionally associated with Venus, and I think that this is really, all in all, going to put a major emphasis, like I've said already, on relationships. So look for opportunities for enhanced sociability, okay? If you're wanting to use these transits to your benefit, the beauty of the transits, and I'll give you guys some of the best days and the days to watch for, is that you may not necessarily have a party happening during the transits that are taking place over the next like 3 weeks, but you can use it to your benefit. If you know that you want to plan a Christmas party at the end of the year, maybe you're wedding planning, maybe you've got a big anniversary coming up and you want to plan a trip, maybe you're just wanting to find, the best days to, do some shopping, get some early Christmas gifts, make some investments. You can use these transits. You don't necessarily need to wait to see the results. So definitely take some notes for some of the transits that I'm going to give you guys, because there are some really, really, really sweet aspects that we're going to see throughout this particular, next couple weeks. In terms of enhanced sociability, whether this is socializing and forming new connections, or if this is just getting out and kind of being active socially again, if you get invited to stuff, or if you're wanting to kind of throw parties, this is the best time to be doing it. And likely you will find that there is a warm welcome and a lot of people being very receptive to either attending or participating in some of these things. Yes, it brings more romance. And I've heard in the comments before, a lot of people are like, tell us about love, tell us about relationships. This is known as a much more romantic time, okay? So, with Venus going through this sign, people can feel a little bit more likely to take action in relationships, pursue people, ask them out. We may feel a little bit more idealistic and romantic. And I think that also this is really about being inclined, for those of us who are already in relationships, to deepen our romantic partnerships with other people. Because Libra does put the spotlight on the partnership and other people and kind of the whining and the dining that goes on in relationships. So we can definitely see a lot more opportunity for that in existing bonds. What I love about Venus in Libra is that it definitely brings up the theme of conflict resolution. So even if we see some other bumpy transits that are kind of going on in the skies, if there's some tension, Venus in Libra has the capability of really being able to find the middle ground, be diplomatic, resolve any conflicts, and it makes it much easier to mend fences or smooth over disagreements. So unlike in recent weeks where we've seen a lot of Jupiter, Mars, heated words, and we have seen, Mars that's now coming into a square with Neptune, where we're just kind of like, what are we doing? What direction are we going in? At least we will have Venus moving through this sign, which means that as long as we feel like we have the right partnership, the right support team, the right therapist, the right friend, we have somebody who we can kind of bounce ideas off of, or somebody who can kind of support and encourage us, we're going to be able to kind of move through some of the other stuff going on in the skies. I do anticipate this can bring more positivity when it comes to finances. And so for a lot of people, just generally, Venus having gone through the sign of Virgo means we've really been having to clean up our finances, right? Virgo wants to break something down, come up with a system. It wants to organize it. It wants to perfect it. So some people already kind of got a head start maybe on, organizing their plans for the rest of the year, or maybe they've been cleaning out their closets or cleaning up their diets or kind of airing out some of their issues that they've had in relationships. But under the themes of money in particular, I think people have been kind of experiencing the tightness because Venus hasn't went through Virgo at opposed Saturn. So we're recognizing, okay, I need to get more hours, in on my time card this week, or, I'm feeling the tightness of my budget, or I'm looking for a job. That kind of stuff has kind of come up, and it has created some financial challenges. So with Venus going into Libra, we can feel like our financial situation is balancing out a little bit. You guys will see a trine to Pluto, which is going to be about powerful transformations of resources, and you'll see an extra sweet trine to Jupiter, which could be a very abundant time period where you could kind of have just some kind of windfall situation or some really significant, gift or indulgence that kind of goes on that day. So I do feel like with Venus going through the sign, investments or purchases, they are going to come more so with ease. And it can also be that we're purchasing beautiful things or we're buying gifts for other people. Maybe we are kind of focusing now on, talking to our partners more about our spending habits, our budget, and our financial goals. Now, in terms of partnerships and business, all right, so this transit, it does favor business partnerships because Libra represents the allies in our life, and that can be your business partner, that could be your business manager, that could be a therapist, whatever, but clients, all that stuff. So Libra is always other people. So this transit does favor business partnerships and collaborations where both parties equally benefit. You want to think of the scales. So negotiations can go more smoothly. It can lead to, more so fair deals where everybody's kind of happy and you can find like a win-win. So if you've been hitting a wall and launching something and getting people to kind of bite on, some kind of proposal or some kind of brand collaboration or anything like that, likely you'll see these things can actually go a little bit more smoothly over the next few weeks. I do think, and I've noticed this personally, Venus in Libra is definitely a time where there is more spending on beauty. Now that could mean you're more inclined to buy your wife flowers, or, maybe you're doing a Sephora haul, or you decide that, you want to go and stock up on some new clothes. Pretty common when Venus goes into Libra, because there is an inclination to want to spend on art, luxury items, or anything that's going to enhance your personal appearance or your environment. Now remember that Libra is others, so consulting with other people is something you want to consider doing. Talk to your partner before you go and buy a new sofa, right? Maybe you go to the beauty or the makeup counter and you ask them, what would you recommend for my skin tone, or what kind of, lipstick would work well with, my hair, or any of these things. Ask other people's opinions. When in doubt, you'll have somebody who's going to be helpful, either willing to kind of help give recommendations or even help you go and select something that's going to be best for you. I really like this for like color swatching. I like that I guess it's become more of a trend, but it can be really wonderful because we're going to see some air trines taking place throughout this transit to Pluto. So we could have some transformation, or we can be kind of updating or getting up to style with what's trending. We can also see Venus trine Jupiter as a day where we're learning more about, this kind of, suit's going to work best for your body type. Or if you untuck your shirt, this way, or if you wear this color with your skin tone, you're going to look great. And a lot of this information doesn't necessarily have to come from going to a mall. You can actually find lots of like TikToks, Reels, things online. You can find influencers. You can find groups that can give beauty hacks. So if you're into that stuff, just keep an eye out, find some of these groups, or take note of some of the influencers or some of the people who are posting this stuff who can give you some really great information about some of these trends. Now, in terms of art, just be mindful that creativity flourishes. So I don't care if you write music, or if you're a painter, or if you're a dancer, or anything like that. This is an excellent time for artistic endeavors because that's what Venus rules. So in an aesthetic sense, we're going to feel heightened, energy of feeling kind of inspired, right? Venus is a muse. When it comes to creations that are not only beautiful, but also balanced and harmonious. I like Venus in Libra for doing like date night where you go and do like the wine and painting, right? That can be fun. I like this transit for also sharing your art with other people. So if you're somebody who wants to take your work to a gallery, or if you're wanting to do like a showing and you want to collaborate with other people, wonderful time for that. People are going to appreciate art more. Art is going to make more money during this transit when it's being sold. And it's a wonderful time also for artistic collaborations. So if you're somebody who's an artist or a graphic designer, a performer, collaborating with other people is really encouraged during this transit. You're really going to see that with the trine of Pluto right off the bat. Basically what it's going to be doing is it's going to lead to more opportunities to bring other people in. And that could be, paying clients or customers. That could be people who want to see you perform. So definitely take some time over the next couple of weeks to appreciate art. Go to a gallery, go to a concert, go to an engaging, art-related activity, somewhere where you can either participate, you can buy, you can watch, you can support, because it's going to be really quite beautiful during this particular transit. Look for Venus to bring more peace just in general out in the world, not just in our own relationships, but Because Venus is the planet of peace and beauty and cooperation, this is a time where we can see some of the tension that's been going on amongst other countries also potentially kind of die down just a little bit. We may be feeling like we're gravitating towards, any kind of activity that promotes peace and well-being and diplomacy and working together. That's what we want to be seeing out on the world stage, because that's going to be impacting all of us on a personal level. And then finally, take time for self-reflection. This is important during a Venus transit because I feel like Libra is so outwardly focused. It's a masculine energy. So it has the ability sometimes to get super kind of consumed in what other people think or what other people are doing or what other people have or what other relationships people are in. And we can kind of get sucked into the Libra vortex of caring sometimes too much about what other people think. And we don't want to lose track of our own values or our own appreciation for relationships or things. So take time to really kind of reflect on, your own personal value system, what changes you're making in those areas, what you love. You can share it with other people, but you don't want to necessarily just turn into like a person. When we have so many planets in Libra, and you guys might see this later in the year, we can lose ourselves in other people. And I bring that up only because Venus will be making a connection to the South Node. So one of the big themes that we're going to see with this transit is, where have we been, right? What have we participated in? Who have we partnered with? What happened in the past? Anyway, I'll get to that in a second. Just know that, Venus going through, the sign of Libra, she's in her domicile, which means she's at home. So I kind of see this as Venus's welcome home party, and Venus comes home and, everybody opens the door to her house and it's filled with flowers and honey and beautiful fabrics and music and all kinds of, soft colors. So that's the kind of vibe that we want to have for the next couple of weeks. We want to be focusing on, okay, how can I create more balance and harmony in my own life? Simple things. I think it's going to be about just trying to be a peacemaker. I think it's going to be about striving for harmony and trying to avoid conflict. So when you're seeing that, you can make a conscious decision to go, I am choosing peace, or I am wanting, to kind of find a middle ground. I also feel like this is going to be about welcoming Venus into our space. So yes, put some flowers, out on the kitchen table, or maybe get into the habit on Fridays of having a piece of chocolate, for Venus, or maybe before you meditate, you'll ring some bells, or you'll use some essential oils that's kind of associated with Venus. You can use anything that's going to smell like flowers. She loves that. There's also a strong kind of connection to like jewelry and perfume. So I know sometimes when, Venus goes into her domicile, because I'm Venus ruled, that's what I'll do. I'll clean up my altar space. I'll put out some new candles. I'll put out some flowers. Sometimes I'll put some raw honey, or I'll put some fruit or something like that, just symbolic of Venus, because Venus is coming home. And I do that because I like to have a relationship with the planets, but I do that with other planets as well, but in particular with Venus, because I feel like that willingness to connect with the planet and kind of acknowledge, okay, she's around, it will help her kind of engage in my own life. So try it, do it on Fridays, because Fridays are Venus's day. Get out there and be a social butterfly if you can. If you're, afraid to get out and meet new people, wonderful time to do this, or to play matchmaker, or to go and do something that is going to be, beautiful and kind of aesthetically pleasing with your friends. You can be kinder to some of the women in your life. You can be more generous with them, give them some sweet things or some affection or appreciation. And enjoy this transit, because I feel like this is going to be a small kind of slice of time before we are really starting to get into what are going to be some heavier kind of Venus transits. Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius. It's going to be a while until we're going to get Venus moving into Pisces, actually kind of into next year, and that's where she will retrograde. All right, so let's take a look at Venus's trek. And before I even get into Venus's ingress, I want to just reiterate what has already happened thus far. So if you've been following along, or if you guys saw my my horoscopes for the month of August, you saw me talk a lot about how we were going to see so many oppositions taking place between planets in Pisces, and then we were going to see that kind of manifest as taking space or stepping away from something, or going, I don't know if this is a good investment. I don't know if this is a healthy relationship. I don't know if I still value this thing. And then we saw planets, and Venus is going to be making this aspect first, come into a trine with Uranus. So it was a change in our style, our habits, our relationships, a shift maybe in our spending habits or in our values. So the change was kind of welcomed. And then we see Venus come into an opposition with Neptune. So if you guys are watching this on the 27th, you are in this phase right now, okay? So it's important to know that you've already been a little unsure about something. So you got to look at Virgo and Pisces in your chart. Obviously Venus, going through the sign of Virgo, where we have a tendency to air out our issues, or we got to heal something, or we kind of see that relationships take a lot of hard work, has not been easy. But this trine that you guys are experiencing kind of yesterday and today is saying, okay, the tide is turning, things are changing, we can make these shifts. So just kind of take that into consideration, and then it will kind of finalize with Venus's opposition to Neptune. And I think of like Pisces as, what is sacrifice? Maybe what is not always best for our mental health, maybe what's not always best for our spirit. And Venus in Virgo is very kind of tough love. It's like, no, love sometimes is about, doing the heavy lifting and being willing to kind of get out of your own way and needing to prioritize your own health, habits, and goals. So whatever you've been kind of reevaluating now, as Venus comes into Libra, it's going to show us some really interesting transits. So watch this. You're going to see then on... All right, so then on the 29th, then Venus opposes Neptune, which I kind of call that like the catfish transit. We can feel more inspired. We can feel more idealistic. There can be some positive kind of creative influences, but Venus in Virgo, a mutable earth sign, is very, what you see is what you get, very direct. Make it efficient, make it real. And Neptune in Pisces is like, I don't want to do that, or I'm going to manipulate it, or I'm going to distort it, or I'm going to put a filter on it or something, So there is this very clear, obvious, whatever we've been going back and forth with over this last month, we recognize that it may not be good for us, or that this is not how we want to kind of continue forward. So I preface the Venus transits in Libra with this whole process, because as soon as Venus comes into Libra, which it will on the 29th. Okay, as soon as that happens, Venus is immediately trining Pluto. So I kind of see like the Venus in opposition to Saturn, Venus in opposition to Neptune is like, I know I need to quit the bad habit, or I know I need to, kind of finally get over the heartbreak, or I know that I need to, kind of practice better self-care or self-love. And then Venus moves into Libra and trines Pluto. So right off the bat, pretty powerful transit. We see Venus trine Pluto twice a year, so this is nothing unusual, but 0 degrees of signs are incredibly potent. It's the purest form of that expression. And 0 degrees of Libra, like the other 0 degrees of the cardinal points, are very, very significant points. These deal with the world axis points. So sometimes when we see planets that transit over this particular degree, or we see the eclipses or the nodes that are kind of around these degrees, things happen that are taking place on the world stage. We know that Venus is associated with femininity, right? Women, beauty. So I'm wondering, like, what happens with this transit where we see Venus trine Pluto, where there is this positive kind of Jupiterian influence of partnerships, diplomacy, collaborations, women, female artists, females in the spotlight, and power, positions of power, transformations of power. Pluto in Aquarius is changing the way that we look at collaborations. I posted a funny meme on X's last week where I was saying, well, okay, this is, Pluto in Aquarius, this is Pluto in retrograde in Capricorn, and then this is Pluto direct in Aquarius in 2025. And I talk about how to me, it's so obvious, Pluto moving from Capricorn into Aquarius is we're shifting into where we're looking at collective power. And that can be good or bad, right? But just for the sake of this video, the transformations of power and it being reworked and redistributed to groups of people. So we're going to start seeing that we're moving away from, the single, kind of top boss or, top leader. And we're moving into a situation where power is not going to be consolidated to just one person. It's going to be distributed amongst a team, or we're going to see panels, or we're going to see more emphasis on collaborations, or there's going to be like cabinets and administration where we're going to start seeing, in order for you to participate in the future, for you to have any kind of say or sway, you have to bring something to the collective. You have to bring something to the table. And so then power becomes not only more evenly distributed, but it's going to be better for everybody involved when we have different kind of independent minds. So I say that because, Venus is diplomacy, and Pluto in, Aquarius is going to be about some kind of collective. Do we hear about some significant woman joining a political kind of affiliation or some kind of campaign? I wonder, because, politics is Aquarius. In general, though, the Venus trine Pluto is really a powerful blend of these two particular planets. It's about love and transformation. Now, you might experience on this day profound changes in relationships or personal values, often leading to deeper or more meaningful connections with others. So there's like an ease to the trine when they're kind of making these aspects. And this is, an opportunity to transform your approach to other people. And it can be your friends, your romantic partners, it could be yourself. And it's leading to a significant period of personal growth, attraction of, influential people, and also transformative relationships. So mark your calendars for the 29th of August, okay? What's so fascinating to me is, like I said, Venus came out of these oppositions where it was like, I don't know if I should break away from this thing. And then she breaks away and she goes, okay, I went through the breakup, but, I'm hanging out with my friends, right? This is just an example. Pluto in Aquarius is the power of your collective networks and groups and friends and associations, right? Your goal or your dreams for the future and how that's transforming or changing. So it may mean that we are actually celebrating the fact that people are leaving certain relationships and kind of collaborations, and we see it as liberating because, well, Aquarius is about liberation. Keep in mind, Venus is also now the dispositor of Uranus. So I do think that in this particular transit, the fact that it kicks off with the trine to Pluto is saying like, okay, so you got fired from your job, that's your story, or okay, so you're divorced, so that's part of your story. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a black sheep in society. We're going to be kind of celebrating the fact that people are actually leaving things that are not good for them, that's not beneficial for them, that's toxic, rather than looking at it as you're kind of cast aside in some way, or you've been kind of marked in some way as somebody who is not valuable or beautiful or successful or like attractive. All right, so that's the first transit that we're going to see. The next big transit we're going to see is going to be on September the 3rd, so a couple days. And this is the one you guys are going to want to watch out for, okay? And I don't say that in like a oogie boogie way, but there is something to be said about the fact that the South Node is in Libra. So collectively, we on one hand are dealing with a lot of like karmic relationship stuff where we've been going through the same patterns. Maybe we feel like we're meeting the same people, learning the same lessons. Maybe we are trying to kind of undo some of our tendencies to be codependent or reliant on other people. And we're trying to activate the North Node, which is in Aries. Okay, so it's about independent, quick moving, fierce, courageous, athletic, where, Venus Libra is more, I'm going to lay around on a, crushed velvet sofa and eat grapes and just enjoy my day. It's a very different energy than Aries. So with Venus coming into conjunction with the South Node, and it is the ruler of the South Node, right? This means that we are going to be clearing something out. And the nodes in general is not just about the rulership. Remember that these are the nodes of the moon. Okay, so we've got the South Node at 6, Venus at 6, and there is some correlation to the moon. Well, what's happening with the moon when this conjunction happens? Well, it's a new moon in Virgo, right? So we're already on the, second, third, setting intentions going, okay, I need to kind of get this in order, or I need to get back on track, or I need to get healthier, organized, or I'm committed to details. There's something going on there. And with the South Node Venus conjunction at a 6, that is a Virgo degree. There is something that is reverberating that is saying unhealthy tendencies, patterns in relationships, things that we must let go of, where we have been before, what we have dealt with before, how it's impacting our health, how it's impacting our lower back, our kidneys, right? Libra things. Maybe it's about letting go and releasing sugar, right? An unhealthy kind of consumption patterns and habits. This is second house from the new moon in Virgo. So it can be about not having a bunch of excess spending, not eating a bunch of sweets. It can also be putting an emphasis on some kind of loss that we're having to kind of go through, but it may not be physical. It can be more kind of mental. Getting rid of old love letters, getting rid of old photos and text messages or anything that we've been kind of holding around that reminds us of people from the past. So it will highlight past patterns in relationships or personal aesthetics that may need revisiting or let go. So this would be the day that you're like, none of my clothes fit anymore. I'm donating them. I'm going to clean up my closet and get some new stuff. Or, this really just isn't a representation of who I am anymore. So it's time for me to kind of make a change with my home decor or, whatever kind of home goods, luxury goods, physical things you have. It's definitely a time where you will also, by the same token, you'll feel like you're being pulled towards something familiar that's not necessarily beneficial in relationship dynamics. So the 3rd of September is a day that you want to pay attention to, like, okay, I've always done this in relationships, but am I going to do this again? Am I going to fall back into this pattern again? Do I want to keep doing this? And I really just have to tell you guys, it's a period for releasing old karmic ties to patterns. And this is about making way for new beginnings. We will have a solar eclipse in Libra that's going to be happening at 10 degrees. So it's conjunct, this particular conjunction at the beginning of October. The fact that Venus hits this first, I feel like is just a precursor for what we will be clearing out next month. So there can be this sense, because Venus is a flower, right? It's what she opens up to. We're opening up to the fact that's like, I do need to make that change, or this doesn't feel good anymore. I don't love this anymore. The irony with the new moon in opposition to Saturn, and the moon will oppose Saturn, the sun will oppose Saturn, and then we are going to have Mercury come into an opposition with Saturn. Pay attention to what you feel like you're emotionally ready to let go of. You may start to see more of the physical kind of release that's going to be playing out really between the eclipses of mid-September and, let's say, the beginning of October. Now, the Sabian symbol is the 7 degrees, because it's 6 degrees and change. So I'd like to read that to you guys. 7 degrees of Libra, a woman feeding chickens and protecting them from hawks. The theme is balancing opposing forces. This symbol speaks to maintaining a proper balance between opposing forces by protecting the weak while preserving the strong. The image of a woman feeding chickens and protecting them from hawks emphasizes the importance of supporting and developing that which present value while holding in reserve that which doesn't sustain and may even harm immediate objectives. The focus here is on discrimination and the ability to use good judgment. The challenge is in any situation is to be able to tell the difference between the chickens and the hawks. At its highest, this symbol represents keen administrative skills and the ability to determine the most appropriate response in any given situation. Watch for confusion and the inability to separate the wheat from the chaff and make competent decisions. The accent is on protecting what you value. Your possessions or something that you are responsible for could be in jeopardy. Your greatest advantage lies in being vigilant and alert to sudden changes in others. Look for breaks and patterns, things that happen when they shouldn't or don't when they should. Guard against taking things for granted or neglecting your responsibilities. Don't promise more than you can deliver. Stepping stones would be protection, preservation, precaution, nurturance, administration, guardianship, steward, care, alertness, cleverness, discernment, vigilance, watchfulness, and discrimination. Well, anybody who's had chickens knows that if you've got free roaming chickens, you got to watch out for those hawks. Knowing what you need to kind of protect and kind of care for and take care of. But I think this line was most interesting to me. Which one was it? Staying alert. Look for breaks and patterns, things that happen when they shouldn't or don't happen when they should. I feel like, Venus is so, especially in Libra, is so quick to be like there for other people and supporting of other people and considerate and compassionate. And I feel like in some situations I've noticed recently with the South Node in Libra that there has been maybe such an overemphasis recently with the Mars transits that people have been a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more assertive, a little less likely to listen, a little bit more demanding. And certainly Venus coming into conjunction with the South Node. And in some situations for some people, you could go, wow, I really expected, my friend to call me on my birthday and they didn't, or I really thought that they would, be there for me when I was there for them. Or I thought it was just obvious that, they would want to make me dinner when I come home from work. These things that seem like they're these givens or, just kind of general expectations in relationships to other people that we may have like an epiphany throughout this transit and realize like, wow, they really aren't, giving and taking. They're not really checked in. And so there can be disappointments that can happen with the Venus South Node conjunction where we have these realizations that's just like, yeah, this is an imbalance. So pay attention to that as well. If there's things that you're feeling like are kind of coming up where you're like, okay, am I crazy? Am I asking or expecting for too much? And we do have to be careful when we have planets going through Libra because sometimes there can be a tendency to project where, you may be, totally self-aware and super considerate and hold yourself to a different standard than other people. So this disappointment can be coming from that as well. And so I'm not saying tit for tat, but take notes, pay attention so you can make those necessary adjustments in relationships or in partnerships or with clients or what have you as we start to see other planets coming into Libra throughout the next month. Now, it's also about nurturing and protection, right? What do you need to take care of? What is worth taking care of? What do you value? Making sure that, you are doing the necessary work to be able to provide for your friends, your family, right? Your pets. This is also about nature and simplicity. So when I think about the chickens and a woman taking care of the chickens, it reminds me of returning to nature, a simpler time, the fundamental tasks that we need to do to keep relationships alive or keep partnerships alive or to just be a good friend. This is also about the cycles of life. If you think about chickens, there is this connection, if you're protecting them from the hawks, where there is this connection to the cycle of birth to death and the continuous process of giving and receiving. Chickens also symbolize themes of fertility, growth, and natural progression of life events. And also community and responsibility. There is an underlining theme of responsibility towards a community or group, right? The chickens. And the woman's action suggests a role where one's actions directly impact the welfare of others, emphasizing the need for leadership and duty and communal care. So these are going to be things that we're kind of talking about. Who do we have to look out for? Who do we have to be more considerate or compassionate of? I think that's definitely going to be a big theme. And it may not necessarily just be in relationships. It could be, just in terms of our communities and, people speaking out and kind of discussing and talking more on that. All right, so then the next big transit we're going to have involving Venus will be the 11th of September. And on the 11th, we're going to see Venus in conjunct Saturn and in Pisces. So now this is where we're kind of getting to where, the transits shift a little bit. Starts off really strong. We recognize what we're kind of breaking away from or letting go of. And now we have an inconjunct or a quincunx right here. So this is at 15 degrees. So it can be more than one option. It can be communication related. It can be noticing, the things that people don't say or, the actions they don't take, what have you. So whenever you see an inconjunction or a quincunx, think of it as like an annoying angle, like it's trying to reconcile something and you're feeling torn between two different things. So this aspect brings up, a sense of restriction or duty in matters of love. Saturn, Venus, love, relationship, harmony, sacrifice, duty, and kind of limitation. There is likely with this particular transit on the 11th to be some kind of tension between, what you desire and what you feel obligated to do, or limitations that are very much kind of like in your face, right? Saturn and Pisces. The quincunx is an aspect that requires adjustments or compromise, possibly feeling like love or pleasure is somewhat constrained by responsibilities or past commitments. And what's interesting is that Saturn, is retrograde. So we're reevaluating our karmic law, like responsibilities, our karmic lessons. We are reflecting on, where we haven't taken some kind of action. This is a mutable water sign. It has a tendency to turn inward and retreat. And then you add a, Saturn retrograde on top of that, even more so. I think there could be lots of issues in relationships for people who aren't willing to apologize, acknowledge what happened, acknowledge that they were late or they forgot something or that they didn't, take some kind of initiative. I definitely think that can be a theme with this. It's at, like I said, a Gemini degree. So it's definitely going to deal with communicating, writing, calling people back, something like that. And this is a day where you just notice oh, okay, this is uncomfortable. How do I break out of this? How do I make this change? I think that, for me, experiencing the inconjuncts between the two is that it can also represent that there can be things that are hidden that we don't see, right? Saturn and Pisces, Neptune and Pisces retrograde. There are things that we don't see that are keeping us from being able to get into better balance or sync with other people. There are karmic forces at play. There are things going on in the ethers or things going on where the universe is kind of intervening and it's breaking certain things down that's kind of keeping us apart from some people. And in other situations, it's bringing some people together. Some people will say the South Node conjunction with Venus is about, you hear from a romantic partner from the past, or you come across an old, love letter, or maybe that, old ex-boyfriend or girlfriend, adds you on social media, something like that can happen, sure. But I think that this is a lot of looking at things and going if it's just not working, there's got to be something else at play that's kind of holding me back and keeping me from this. Does it mean something better is coming? And that's kind of how I've interpreted some of the aspects between Pisces and Libra. All right, so then we get to the 15th, and this is also one of the really good days. And this is going to be the Venus trine Jupiter transit. We've got Venus at 20 degrees of Libra, trine Jupiter at 20 degrees of Gemini. If you have anything, right, I would say 19, 20, 21 degrees of the air signs, you're going to be benefiting from this the most. We have a Venus trine Jupiter that happens twice a year, so this is nothing unusual. But certainly Jupiter, the great, benefic planet, it's about abundance and it's about growth and travel and philosophy. And then we've got Venus, which is about beauty and harmony. So when we have these two planets that are in a trine with one another, good things happen, right? Yes, we can indulge a little bit. We can have a little, too much wine. We could upgrade the seat, to first class. So we could definitely focus a little bit more on relationships, but it's a very beautiful transit. And once again, like I said, you guys can use these transits for planning things. So if you know that you've got travel or weddings or parties or gatherings that you need to be planning, these could be days that could be really good for planning. All right, so this trine between Venus and Jupiter, positive aspect, it's promoting expansion, right? Jupiter in love. So this is also about social interactions, financial matters, feeling more optimistic, generous, open in relationships, leading to new connections or enhancement of existing ones. And there's a potential for growth and understanding of enjoying life's pleasure. Now, Jupiter, right, in Gemini is expanding the mind. It's expanding social media, communication. It's having us read more. It's having us walk more. It's teaching us about culture, and we're having some kind of global conversation or discussion. So when these two planets trine, it's great for sending out invitations, putting out, you know, like a new website, for announcing maybe specials that you're going to be having if you have a business, or new products. And I look at the day that this happens, the moon will be in a trine with this as well. So we're going to have a grand air trine. What? Okay, so the moon in Aquarius, which is about social events, getting together, parties, collaborations with friends, networking events, the internet, Jupiter, communication, sharing, and learning, and Venus. Oh my goodness, I don't even know. Let me see. What day does the 15th fall on? Is that a weekend? I think it's right before the eclipse. September 15th is a Sunday, okay? So Saturday the 14th and Sunday the 15th, some of the best days for parties, gatherings, celebration. And if you're like, but I'm not having one for you know, a week, send out the invitations that day. Send out digital invitations. Go out, go to a party, hang out with your friends. You might meet somebody. Traveling with friends, booking travel, all of these things are really, really, really great. So my favorite day is definitely going to be the 15th, but definitely something going on the 14th works as well, because you're still going to have the moon that's in Aquarius at that time. All right, so this is where we get a little tricky. Venus is now going to come into an opposition with Chiron. All right, so that is going to be happening on the 16th. Now, Chiron is retrograde, and Chiron is in Aries. So this represents personal wounds. It could be physical injuries. It could be sunburns, cuts, burns, abrasions. It could be our own personal issues and insecurities within ourselves. And oppositions, in my mind, I see oppositions kind of similar to conjunctions, because think of them as standing across the room and they're just eyeballing each other, right? Staring each other down. So it's no different than if they were conjunct one another, because there is this intense kind of engagement with the two. 22 degrees is long-standing issues. It could be skin issues. It could be issues with older women, older relatives, long-term relationship issues that are having some challenges, or long-term issues or insecurities that we are having. And you know, Venus being in Libra, it wants to partner and harmonize. Like, this could be a day that, you know, you're just feeling really insecure and you don't understand why your partner didn't compliment, you know, the dress you wore to dinner, or, you know, a day where you are supposed to be going out and, you know, meeting new people and socializing, and you just don't feel comfortable walking up and talking to new people, or you're doubting, you know, your capabilities of being able to connect with other people. So this can definitely be a little challenging, because it does bring up the issues of wounds in relationships, particularly around themes of independence versus partnership. You might confront feelings of rejection or hurt from your past relationships, and this can also offer a chance for healing, understanding your worth, and learning to love yourself more deeply. I feel like this opposition, you know, it's starting to pick up also the square to Pluto. So if you have any planets, I would say like 22 to 29 degrees of the cardinal signs, you may feel this a little bit more intensely. And ironically, look, Pluto's back in Capricorn. So long-standing issues where we've always had these problems in relationships and we repeat them, you know, and it creates insecurities with us. And then maybe it also puts us in a situation where we feel isolated in relationships, or, you know, it could be a day where you're like, why does everybody else have somebody and I can't find anybody? Or what's going on in regards to, you know, my partnership? Why are we not doing the same things other people are doing? So be mindful, people can be a little bit more sensitive. Equally, we are coming into what is about to be the lunar eclipse in Pisces, which already, the moon being in Pisces, emotions are high. People are going to be very emotional and very sensitive with a lunar eclipse, obviously, and then in Pisces, you know, just doubly so. So if we look at that Pisces eclipse, the Pisces eclipse is going to be happening, here we go, at 25 degrees. Now, this has nothing to do with Libra or Pisces, but Venus is quincunx inconjunct that moon. So in the same way Venus made a quincunx or an inconjunct to Saturn, where it was like, what is this blockage? What is holding me back? Why am I not letting something go? You know, what are my emotions telling me? That comes up again during the Pisces eclipse. And now Venus is at a 23. So this is definitely where, if there is something that's not going well in relationships, if there's been some like issues or just some disturbances, We do see sometimes separations, breakups, things like that happen with Venus at 23. We also see it with Venus opposed Saturn, which we already went through. We also see it with Venus opposed Neptune or Venus conjunct the South Node. So there is a process of, I think, kind of peeling back all of the layers of feeling like we have to be super identified with relationships, and maybe we would become too overly identified with certain partnerships that we lose our own identity. And so that can bring up lots of emotions, especially when we put all of our eggs in one basket, our hopes and our dreams with one particular person. And it can be, especially in this next week, there can be some harsh realities in relationships where we feel a little let down, that we maybe put somebody on a pedestal or overly idealize someone or something, and then we're a bit disappointed. So that theme kind of comes up during the lunar eclipse. All right, so we have another inconjunct quincunx. This is going to be happening on the 20th. And remember, these are uncomfortable. That's what these feel like. They're uncomfortable. So now we've got Venus, which is the dispositor of Uranus. Quincunx Uranus. Okay. And it's interesting because if you look at this, Uranus and Neptune are sextile. So we've got a sextile between the two where we're kind of unraveling, releasing, dissolving things. And that does cause shocks, surprises, financial changes, changes to our self-esteem. Venus is a part of a yod. So she is the focal point between this, which means when Venus hits that 27, 28 degrees, which will be on the 20th and the 21st, it is possible to move through some of these financial rock rattles and rolls, or some of these hidden subconscious issues through the help and support of another person. So you might have a partner who supports you while you're going through a tough time mentally. You might have a therapist who's really helpful in helping you uncover some of these self-esteem issues. You might have a client that says, yes, of course, I'd love to work with you, that comes in right when you need to kind of make some extra money. So love is the way. When we see this particular transit that happens on the 20th, love needs to lead the way. Otherwise, you're going to get caught in the Venus quincunx Uranus. You're not being stable. You're not paying the bills. You don't have what I need. And so I'm going to be kind of wishy-washy or kind of changeable when it comes to relationships. And there is definitely some issues with perspectives in relationships with money, because we've got a Venus sign and a Venus sign that's kind of coming together. And then the moon is going to kind of join in there as well. Now with Venus quincunx or in conjunct Uranus and Taurus, I feel like that's a pretty big transit because it's the ruler or the dispositor of Uranus. So this likely can bring unexpected changes or disruptions in your usual approach to love, beauty, or money, or what you're used to eating or what you're used to buying. This could also be a sudden need for freedom or innovation in how you relate to other people. And likely this will feel a little unsettling, but ultimately it's about breaking free from the old limiting patterns that you've been in relationships. And it can bring about healthier habits, self-esteem, right? Better resources. It can help you kind of break through that invisible wall. And it doesn't always have to be about romantic relationships. I think 7th house Libra is like, you need the best person to, consult with if you're going through a legal battle. You need I use the term therapist, but it could be therapist, it could be coach, it could be an astrologer to help you break through some of these things that can kind of support you. So sometimes it's not even about finding it within your romantic partners. It may be about you taking action to go and find the right people to connect with who can help you kind of move through that. Consultants, designers, stylists, all these people can kind of come in. All right, so now we've got another doozy. It's funny that this transit starts with a bang and it goes out with a bang. You guys are going to see what I'm talking about. Then we have on the 21st, Venus will then in conjunct Neptune. All right, so then the in conjunction to Neptune happens. So like I said, it is kind of the focal point of a yod. So you're probably feeling it when it in conjuncts Uranus as well. But for the sake of looking at it both ways, now Venus is trying to reconcile with the fact that Neptune's not giving her clarity, and Neptune is keeping silent or hiding something or not sharing information, or it's hiding under its sheets. So the Venus in Libra in conjunct Neptune is going to represent issues where there's definitely a blur of boundaries in relationships, and this could lead to idealizing somebody, like I said, rose-colored glasses, right? Putting somebody on a pedestal, seeing what we want to see. but it can also bring up confusion about what you truly want or need in love. And there can be like a spiritual kind of artistic inclination that can come up with this, but Venus quincunx Neptune for me is a big risk of deception or disillusionment, and it's a time to seek clarity in your desires and avoid escapism. So this is important because look what happens. Okay, now the moon is conjunct Uranus and it quincunxes Venus. Okay, so that yod, the 20th, 21st is saying like, And then what happens with Venus on the 22nd of September? Well, she goes out with a bang. So not only was there something trying to be reconciled, but then Venus hits 29 degrees, which in my opinion, I've seen at this point thousands of charts, progress 29 degrees Venus, progress 29 degrees Libra, natal planet sometimes 29 degrees of Libra. It does represent that final tipping of the scales, right? And, Libra will trade I guess, truth for peace because they see the opportunity and the ability to be diplomatic. Scorpio will trade peace for truth. And I preface this because Venus is about to go into Scorpio, where she is going to, be in her detriment. So as we see Venus kind of go through there, where she's debilitated, moving through a Mars-Pluto ruled sign, the 29 degrees is saying this is a tipping point in a relationship that's about to happen. Right, and we're in Libra season, by the way. So this will be a part of the, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, this will be a part of the fall equinox where we can look at that chart and we can go, okay, this is what's going to happen for the next 3 months. So Venus is about to go into Scorpio, where she's going to, like I said, trade peace for truth. And she hits 29 degrees, which is known as an anaretic degree. So this is a degree that's about destroying something, or it can feel excessive, or it can feel karmic. Venus squares Pluto back in Capricorn. And this is a lot more dynamic because this is the closing square. So Venus is now trying to reconcile what she's been dealing with in terms of power and control issues since, earlier in the year when it was conjunct in, I believe, Aquarius. So, closing squares are like, nope, let's finish this. And it is very much connected to the Pluto and Capricorn transit. This will be the last time that you will see Venus in Libra square Pluto in Capricorn. We will not see this again because Pluto is going to go into Aquarius later in the fall. And late cardinal signs, be mindful that this is definitely intense because when we see squares from the right-hand side, it's trying to finish something. So now Venus is trying to conquer hate with love. But that may mean that we need to partner with the right people. That might mean also that, all is fair in love and war when you're dealing with Venus and Pluto. And this square, it's intense. It's about transformation of experiences in relationships. It is about power struggles in financial matters. There can definitely be power struggles and a deep need for control in love. You guys have heard me use the phrase, the movie Fatal Attraction. That's kind of like Venus-Pluto aspects. So it can lead to significant changes in relationships, but sometimes it can point to endings. So, it does offer the potential for profound transformation in relationships if you're willing to finally confront some of the deeper issues that can be connected to power or control or intimacy-related issues. So Venus squares Pluto at 29 degrees. We will definitely look at that chart. And then Venus will go into Scorpio. So it will be in the sign until the 22nd. So as a reminder, just to recap, we are going to see Venus in Libra from August 29th through the 22nd. My favorite days, and I'll put this in the description below, but my favorite days for using these particular transits is going to be August 29th when Venus trines Pluto, September 15th when Venus trines Jupiter. Those are my two favorite ones. There's a lot of tricky stuff in between, okay? So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. My recommendation is also just reflect on what's been happening with some of the oppositions to Saturn and Neptune. What did you take a step away from? What did you learn? What did you realize? What did you open up to? Something tells me something has already changed. And for some of you guys, you'll see this unfold more as we kind of get into the eclipse season, as we get into October. As she goes into Libra, that trine to Pluto is very powerful, and it can be power through endings, power through strength, through new goals in terms of love and money. And yeah, I'm really curious to see how that kind of plays out with the Pluto square right at the end. Now, my recommendations, other than bring more Venus stuff into your life, you know, you can work with, if you like to work with stones or crystals, you can. Obviously, things like rose quartz, emerald, malachite, jade, green aventurine. I like that kind of stuff for working with Venus in Libra. I also like copper. Copper has associations with Venus as well. Obviously, Libra is an air sign, so this would be good for like incense, diffusers, things that smell like rose or other things that are kind of associated with Venus. The color is pink, right? The color is green, white, and turquoise. These are all connected to Venus, so you can kind of wear those colors on Fridays, or maybe you kind of bring some of those kind of colors or some of those crystals into your workspace if you want to attract more abundance and kind of harmony with other people. Definitely just flowers. Venus in Libra likes flowers, bells, chimes, because it's air. Incense, you can do that. You know, luxury items like, you know, putting out some nice jewelry on an altar space, you can do that. Garden and nature, anything kind of connected to the earth. Music, creating a nice ambiance, a nice atmosphere is very Libra. But also, like, have something, you know, sweet every now and then, or, you know, if you're having a glass of wine, you can pour out a little bit for Venus and leave it on an altar space. Venus in Libra really likes mirrors, so if you have like a nice hand mirror or something you want to kind of put out, or Venus symbols. If you have something that has Venus symbols on it, you can do that as well, and that would be like hearts, doves, or the sign for Venus. You can create, you know, carve that into a pink candle, and you can kind of burn that on Fridays, whatever you want to do. But work with this energy, because I definitely feel like it's going to not just only enhance relationships, but also kind of bring better balance and peace with other people. All right, so let's get into the 12 rising signs. I want to talk to you guys about where Venus will be transiting for each and every one of you, and give you some of my hot takes on what to expect. As always, I'm a Western astrologer, so I practice Western tropical astrology. I'm going to be showing this to you guys in the whole sign format, because that is going to be the easiest way to do this. If you use Placidus, you're just going to want to see where does 0 degrees of Libra start, which house. You might have to listen to more than one. You can definitely listen to your progressed chart, but for those of you guys who are like, I don't know what any of that stuff means, just listen to your rising sign, then listen to your sun and your moon sign. The rising sign is going to tell you which house Venus is in. That's where in your life Venus is kind of bringing the hugs and kisses, okay? And then the sun sign can definitely apply to your goals, creativity, and romance. The moon sign could be more about your emotions and your home. I think we need to listen to all of them, especially because we have a solar eclipse in Libra next month. So see Venus is kind of the forebringer of indications about which direction things are going to kind of go in with that area of your life, all right? So we're going to start first with our Aries and Aries risings. You guys are going to be having Venus transiting in your 7th house, okay? So Venus obviously loves Libra, loves the 7th house. So this is considered a good transit for you, Aries, sun, moon, and rising. This is bringing also your 2nd house Lord into your 7th, all right? So if you have a business, if you have clients, if you have a marketplace, if you sell something, if you sell food, jewelry, anything associated with like financial dealings with clients, this is a good transit. The 7th house is about partnership and marriage, right? So if you're single, good time to meet people, because it means that you're going to possibly be seeing people who are going to come in where you can have some kind of romantic connection to. If you are partnered, it can mean that your partner can be more generous, they can be more affectionate, there can be more exchange of compliments, they could be making you feel good, they might be more generous with giving you gifts or flowers or, money, resources, that kind of stuff. So it will affect your relationships, especially romantic and business partners. These are likely to thrive. Now, I feel like there are themes that are coming up revolving around marriage or commitment. So if you're in a relationship already, there can be conversations about where is this going? What are we doing? What's next? There can also be successful business deals. There can be contracts and things agreed to, and overall harmony in relationships. Those of you guys who are single, you know, as you start to see Venus go through the 7th house, and then we have the eclipse next month, it is possible that you may have a new relationship coming in. The South Node is there, so there is something familiar. For some of you guys, you're meeting people who are coming into your life that you haven't seen for several years. Some of them also can be people you haven't seen for several lifetimes. So karmic things do happen when we have the South Node in the 7th house, especially around eclipses. I recommend, if there has been any relationship issues, to focus on working on them, working them out, being diplomatic. It could be working with a therapist. It could just be taking time to be more considerate and compassionate of your partner. This is a great time to start new partnerships or deepen existing ones. All right? All right, Aries, good luck. All right, so we got Taurus and Taurus rising. What's up, Taurus? You will be experiencing Venus's transit through your natal 6th house in Libra. All right, Taurus, this impacts you a little bit more than most signs because Venus is your chart ruler. So Venus does rule your 1st house of the self, the body. And while Venus is good, like the way that I express it is this: houses are where the planets are going to be kind of presenting themselves. The sign, which is Libra, is the lens that they are expressed through. Okay, so you're Venus. So Venus going through the 6th house is putting an emphasis on 6th house things. So this is going to be your work, your health environment, the gym, your pets, your office maybe. It can be about your habits and your routines. Venus, truth be told, is not thrilled about being in the 6th house because there is this sense of like, oh, relationships take work, or, you know, I have to be nice to my coworkers, or I have to kind of work with them. Maybe you're focusing on flexibility and balance, or dance as a form of, you know, exercise. Maybe you're tending to an injury, or you're still trying to heal something. Definitely a good time to be like, you know, singing to your house plants, petting the dog, hanging out with the cat, that kind of stuff. Pleasure can be found basically in your everyday routine. And it can mean that part of your love language throughout this transit is either healing yourself, balancing yourself, or being tidy, being organized, you know, kind of getting your space in order. You might be giving support to coworkers, or maybe even a partnership of some kind. So the effects of this transit is that work becomes more pleasant. That's the good thing. And you might be focusing more on aesthetics or relationships at work. I am predicting that you're going to have improved workplace harmony. There may be much more of a focus on health and a shift towards beauty and wellness in your routines. And I recommend enhancing your work environment, right? Bring some flowers into work, put it in like a communal space, bring in some donuts or some muffins, or like something that's going to be kind of like, oh, I was thinking of you, you know, it'll liven up kind of the work environment. And I also really recommend focusing on health and beauty stuff this month. So yoga, spa treatments, things like that are really wonderful. Keep in mind, there is an eclipse coming in your 6th house at the beginning of October. And that makes me feel like you're kind of like integrating health and beauty, or you're integrating, you know, creativity and self-expression and fitness. Like you might be doing like an aerial yoga class or something like that, you know, so you're like, it's fun, but it's healthy. So hopefully that's helpful for you, my Tauruses. Enjoy this transit. We've got Gemini and Gemini rising. Gemini, you're going to experience Venus's transit through Libra in your natal 5th house. And this is a fellow sister air sign. So you're really going to enjoy this transit, my Geminis. You know, as this transit happens, I mean, it's going to make trines to Jupiter in your sign. It's going to be making some trines also with that transit moon in Aquarius. So pay attention to those days that I kind of noted. Your 5th house deals with creativity. It's self-employment, it's gambling, it's taking chances, dating, children, like all the fun stuff. So when Venus goes through the 5th house, there's definitely this increased creativity that kind of comes through. You're feeling more romantic, more willing to kind of have fun. Maybe there's more playtime with your kids. Maybe you're making more time for dating. Maybe you're focused on creative projects. I predict with this transit for you, what you're going to be experiencing is opportunities basically for, you know, new romance. If you want to meet somebody new, this is a great time to do it. Artistic projects can flourish, especially because Venus is connected to your 12th house. So there can be like a tapping into your creative side. Maybe you're doing some kind of hobby. Maybe you've got like a little hobby room you're working in. Maybe you're, crafting with your kids. You might take a private art class or kind of dance class. That could be something else you can consider. It could also be connected to photography. That's possible as well. Now, the other thing that I think about with this transit is just about, the importance for you. Basically, what I recommend is engaging in creative hobbies. Start dating if you're single, right? Spend quality time with your kids if you've got kids. This is also a time to really focus on beauty and aesthetics and expressing what it is that you love. And I think that's important because the 5th house is self-expression. 5th house is like bars, casinos. It can sometimes be like theaters and kind of like outdoor venues. So if you want to meet people, these are the kind of places you have to go, and you may go with another person. So if you get invited to like a private club or a private screening or something like that, go to those things because you could meet people that way. Okay? Good luck. We've got Cancer and Cancer rising. You'll be experiencing Venus transit through the sign of Libra in your natal 4th house. This is a good transit for you, Cancer, especially because Cancer has a natural kind of association with the 4th house. So Venus going through this part of your chart is going to be putting an emphasis on your home, your family, your private life, women in the family, so female relatives or women moving in or coming to visit or, decorating your home. These things can all come up. Your home life becomes a lot more harmonious. You might be beautifying your living room or your kitchen space or focusing on your family relationships. I predict that there's most likely going to be some kind of family gathering or home renovations or maybe buying luxury goods or art for your home. Venus is connected to your 11th house. So this is groups, and this is also parties and celebration, friends, other people. So it is possible that, you're throwing a family gathering event, or maybe, you're having a housewarming party. Maybe you're moving in with a friend, or a friend's moving in with you, or you're buying some new furniture. I recommend spending time decorating or organizing your home. Focus on family bonding and create a peaceful domestic environment. Get some nice candles, some incense maybe, rearrange the furniture a little bit, jazz it up, bring in some flowers, play some music, something that's going to create a little bit of like an ambiance at home that can lessen some of the tension maybe that's been kind of going on there recently with the eclipses. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Cancer. We've got Leo and Leo rising. What's up, Leo? You're experiencing Venus's transit through Libra in your natal 3rd house. Now, Venus is connected to the 3rd and the 5th house, and the 5th is all about business, status, reputation, and career. So with Venus going through Libra in your 3rd house, I see this as a time where it's putting emphasis on communication, vehicles, siblings, short trips, maybe contracts relating to work, traveling for work, having to talk to bosses. Maybe there is some telecommunicating going on, or, working remotely, you're working on the road. Setting up websites, emails, meetings, or new media networks that are somehow kind of connected to your business. I do see this enhancing communication, especially in terms of diplomacy and negotiation. So more social interactions are likely. You may be spending time with female relatives, and you may be initiating or receiving some kind of business contract. Likely it is beneficial for you because Libra is a sign that sextiles you. I predict that this is a really good time for networking. So if you're writing, or if you're in public speaking, if you are a vlogger, if you are a journalist, anything like that, this is really great time for you because Venus is going to be really helping you get more recognition for what you're saying or what you're writing about or what you're teaching other people. This can also be a wonderful time to consider maybe getting a subscription box or, going and reading reviews of products and seeing what other people think. And that may influence the kind of stuff that you're purchasing, or that may influence, you trying new things, right? Luxury also. So Venus in the third house, you might splurge and get a new phone, or you're getting an iPad, or you're getting, new aesthetic things for your car, or maybe you're looking at buying a car. That can be something that you're considering here as well. Good luck, Libra. Leo. Libra's on the mind. Sorry. Good luck, Leo. All right. So we got Virgo and Virgo rising. You guys are going to be experiencing Venus's transit through your natal second house. All right, Virgo. Well, Venus likes being in the second house. The second, and I think the second and the seventh house are some of the easier kind of transits to have. So having Venus go through your second house is kind of linking your ninth house lord and your second house lord in the second. So the second house for you is about your money, your self-esteem, your purchasing power, your physical possessions, right? So I think about how Venus going through this particular part of your chart is definitely going to be about financial dealings. And it can mean that there's more opportunities in financial dealings. It can mean that maybe, you have some kind of breakthrough with your finances, or money that's been owed to you comes through, or there is some kind of like sudden twist of fate where maybe you changed jobs or you lost job, but you end up getting a better one or a better paying one. That can definitely happen, especially with the trines that you're going to see to Jupiter, as well as the other trine that Venus is going to have. I forget now; it slips my mind. But the two trines, Jupiter and gosh, what was the other one? That's going to drive me crazy now. What was that? I'm having like a total brain slip. Okay, I'll come back to this. But yeah, the two trines that you're going to be seeing are going to be really significant. Okay, so second house may also be about purchasing things. So luxury goods. It might be about changes with your personal style. That's something else that happens here. And I predict that this is going to be potential for financial gains through partnership. Okay, so this could be also spending on art and beauty. Somebody else could give you money. There could also be support that you're getting from family at a distance, or family like in-laws. Maybe this means you're spending money on traveling and you're getting luxury airfare. Maybe you're spending money on a course, or you're going back to school. Maybe you get some kind of support in that way. That's kind of the feeling that I get. What else? Oh, it was to Pluto. See, I'm looking at Pluto now in Capricorn, but it starts with the trine of Pluto in your fifth house. So it might be that you're investing in art. You're investing in a new hobby. That's kind of how I see that. All right. So my recommendations for you are: invest in quality over quantity, consider aesthetic investments, and ensure financial decisions are balanced and that you're not spending more than what you have. Okay. So be mindful of that, because the eclipse that's coming through in October is going to be in your second house, and it's about releasing something. For some Virgo and Virgo risings, you're like, I have stuff I can sell. I have, art pieces I can sell. I have old valuables that I can get rid of. I'm moving. I want to get rid of things. I remember when I had that transit, I sold a ton of stuff and just kind of got rid of everything. And it's stuff that I ended up not wanting to take with me while I was moving. And I was able to, able to make money off of it. So think about what you have, take stock in it, and it can be a good transit for you in terms of investments in luxury goods. Good luck, Virgo. Sorry for the brain fart. All right, we got Libra and Libra rising. You guys are going to be experiencing Venus transiting your sign, Libras. So this is your time. You may not quite feel like it yet because the sun is not in your sign yet. Mercury is not in your sign yet, but that's okay. Venus moving through your first house is really positive because the first house is the house where we have some kind of power over the planets. So when you have your chart ruler and its sign in your first house, this is about you, your diplomacy, your beauty, your appearance, all of that stuff. So Venus is positively influencing your personal charm and attractiveness. It's more highlighted during this transit. You're likely going to feel more sociable and inclined to be around other people, and you want to present yourself in the best light. Venus is also connected to your 8th house of change and transformations, investments, other people's money, right? Psychology. It could be about, exciting new reveals kind of connected to your appearance. So I predict that for Libra risings, you guys are going to have increased self-confidence, maybe going through some kind of makeover. So you could be new wardrobe, or maybe some of you guys are having cosmetic surgery. Maybe there is just a shift in your psychological stuff going on where you're feeling more confident, and maybe you're feeling, like you're practicing more like self-love and you're embracing change. And I think that's good because you have a South Node eclipse coming in your first house pretty soon. This can be good for your health. So I know you've had some retrogrades in your 12th. So if you're a Libra rising that's been kind of crushed by Saturn in the retrograde and you're having health problems, health can start to improve once Venus starts to separate from the South Node. I recommend focusing on self-care, engage in anything that's going to boost your confidence, and be open to new social interactions. Good luck, Libra. All right, we got Scorpio and Scorpio rising. What's going on, Scorpio? You're going to have Venus going through Libra in your natal 12th house. This is an interesting transit because the 12th house is what we do not see. Okay, this is what's hidden. This can sometimes be about hidden enemies. This can be about past life dealings. You could be dealing with some karmic relationship stuff here, especially with the South Node. But this is also about spirituality and the subconscious. All right, so Venus rules the 12th house of these things. And it rules the 7th house of marriage, relationship, partnership, connecting with other people, clients, that kind of stuff. So Venus going through the 12th house, it can be good for meditations on love and feeling more self-sacrificial and wanting to tend to or help, kind of take care of a partnership, or maybe doing a little traveling or having a little bit more intimacy or romantic time with a partner. Those things are good. I do think that the effects are going to be more about putting an emphasis on reflection, withdrawing a little bit from social life, focusing on your inner peace. This is a time where you're going to focus on your spiritual growth, and there can be some hidden romantic encounters or working behind the scenes on creative projects. So if you have a partner or a business partner you work with, it's good for that. But there can be some fishy relationship stuff that can be going on with this transit, especially with Venus on the South Node, like secret relationship dealings, or maybe trying to kind of clear somebody out and kind of finally cut them out of your subconscious. I predict also that this is really good for anything involving art and creativity. Okay, so if you want to work on something behind the scenes creative, I recommend doing that. I also recommend meditating or going on, a weekend away, or spending time at a spa, exploring your subconscious through art or therapy, and rest and retreat when necessary, okay? Be mindful that you are going to be having an eclipse here. So that eclipse that's coming up in October is going to be highlighting that there is some major subconscious psychological clearing out that's going to be happening for you. And this is, I think, going to be one of the last eclipses, at least one of the last solar eclipses in Libra, I believe, in your 12th house. So in the home stretch of doing all of that kind of relationship clearing, the 6th house, the 12th house is the 6th from your 7th. So some Scorpio and Scorpio risings, pay attention to your pet's health, pay attention to your partner's health. They can have issues throughout this particular transit. All right, good luck. We've got Sag and Sagittarius rising. You guys will be experiencing Venus's transit through the sign of Libra in your natal 11th house. All right, love this transit. It's super social, really fun, great for friends and networking and parties and all those things that you guys love. So Venus is connected to your 11th house of networks, other people, and connection to community. And it's also connected to your 6th house, which deals with coworkers. It can be about health, habits, routine, animals, that kind of stuff. So having Venus go through the 11th house, how this is going to affect you is it's going to expand your social life. There will be a focus on group activities or humanitarian causes. Now, I predict that there can be some changes in friendships. There can be new friendships or people from the past that you're reconnecting that you haven't seen in a while. Maybe involvement in community projects, achieving, goals through teamwork. Team meetings and collaborations at work can be happening because of the connection to the 6th. Maybe some kind of going and working out with friends, or maybe you're supporting each other through, some new health goals or habits. And this can also be about, I think, joining clubs and any networking opportunities that you're wanting to do to expand your business or to expand something about your collaboration just with other people in general. So if you're wanting to join an online group for support or for beauty and aesthetics or for styling or any of these things, I really, really recommend, because the trines are going to be to your 7th house where your chart ruler is, that this is about like going and telling other people, if you have a business, what kind of services you offer, what kind of work you do. And really just kind of networking with people as much as you can, because it can bring lots of opportunities through some of those kind of group events to bring more business or relationships your way. Good luck, Sag. We've got Capricorn and Capricorn rising. You guys are going to be experiencing Venus going through the sign of Libra in your natal 10th house. All right, Capricorn, Venus through the 10th house is putting an emphasis on your career, your reputation, your professional life. It's putting you in the spotlight. Now, Venus rules the 10th house, so it can be about your professional relationships, the people you work with, your marital status, your relationship status. But it can also just bring more sweetness at work. There could be better business deals, more generous people, and maybe even a little romance in the office space. I could definitely see that happening for some of you. Now, when you have this transit, expect career advancements. It's because you're being more charming out in the workspace. This is also about beauty and artistic talent, and your public image becomes important, and generally you'll have a really good reputation during this time. Watch when Venus squares Pluto, though. You could be dealing at the end of the transit with somebody having some kind of jealousy over you, okay, or over what you have or what you do. That's the only one I'd watch for. Then you're going to see, in terms of predictions, I predict that there's more or an uptick in career success during this particular time. I also feel like you're much more likely to be diplomatic at work and kind of get on well with people and be able to negotiate things and smooth things over. I recommend being sweet, being charming, being considerate, focusing on your public image. Consider career moves, either in arts or diplomacy, or partnering up with somebody who can kind of help you get ahead. Take time to ask other people, oh, how was your weekend? Like, oh, what did you and your husband do, for the holiday? Or, what are you up to? Do you want to come and have lunch with me? Initiate ways to be able to connect with people at work, because it's going to definitely bring a little bit more sweetness into your life. And, between Venus square Pluto and Venus quincunx Saturn, there can be like a sense of, do I say something? Do I not say something? Say something. Reach out to people and try to collaborate, because it'll definitely help you, I think, navigate some of these changes that might be coming with the eclipse in October with your career, okay? Good luck. We've got Aquarius and Aquarius rising. You'll be experiencing Venus's transit through the sign of Libra in your natal 9th house. This is a sister air sign, so you'll be really enjoying this transit in particular, because you're kind of the missing piece between Gemini and Libra transits. So, Venus being in the 9th house is going to be kind of highlighting the 9th house as well as your 4th house of home, family, private life, and emotions. But Venus through the 9th house is really bringing pleasure through education, travel, philosophy, anything that deals with the higher mind. So this could be long distance relationships, taking a course, studying something, having like a new female teacher or mentor, and bringing more of a desire to travel, especially for culture or romantic reasons. You might notice that you have more of an interest in art or philosophy or even law during this particular transit. I predict that this is going to be all about educational pursuits in art, travel for love or beauty, and maybe taking a course on something that you love. It could be interior design. It could be like an art history course. You might be doing a little bit of research into property law or real estate law or anything involving home or property. That can definitely come up as well. And I recommend, if you have the time, okay, if you can travel during the two times that I mentioned. So I think it's going to be the Pluto trine and the Venus trine Jupiter. Those are really good days to be either going on a trip or planning a trip, or even going away for the weekend. So plan a trip, enroll in a course relating to art or culture, and be open to establishing relationships with people that could be in education, or a romantic relationship with somebody who might be a little further away. There can also be traveling, where you can be going and traveling and seeing a family member that lives in another area, or they can be coming to visit you. Good luck. And we've got Pisces and Pisces rising. So you guys are going to be experiencing Venus's transit through the sign of Libra in your natal 8th house. Sexy. All right. Anytime a planet goes through the 8th house, it goes through a change or a transformation, right? And Venus is connected to your 3rd house of the mind, right? Learning, communication. So Venus in the 8th, this is about powerful transformation when it comes to love, money, and joint resources, okay? That's what this is about. So there is definitely this effect of deepening of intimate relationships, or focusing more on shared finances, or themes revolving around inheritances, you know, money owed, right? Support of some kind. I'm predicting with this transit that there's going to be some kind of joint financial venture, or, you know, investment or loan, or there could be money that's owed to you that's coming back to you in some way. That's very possible. Or you're dealing with some money that's gone that maybe comes back around the time of the eclipse. I think that this is really good for joint financial ventures, you know, transforming experiences in relationships, learning how to be vulnerable and kind of talk about things and heal any trauma maybe that you've had in regards to financial or relationship issues. I really recommend discussing financial situations openly with your partners during this time, and exploring psychological or spiritual growth techniques. Journaling can be great, you know, reading books on relationship transformation, reading books on psychology. There may be a theme of like paying off debt or paying off a loan relating to a car. There can be expenses that are coming up revolving around a home renovation or a move that can be happening here as well. And there is something very sexy and kind of taboo about Venus in the 8th house. You know, it's not just about money. There's definitely a lot more intimacy and depth. I do notice, though, that in several occasions, you know, Venus will quincunx planets in your sign. So that does mean that you have to open up, right? Saturn and Neptune is like, I don't know if I want to tell them, you know, my credit score. I don't know if I want to talk about, you know, my childhood wounds or what happened or who hurt me. And so Venus going through there is saying like communication can be the way forward when it comes to healing some of these issues, and you can have a lot more depth and richness in relationships through being able to discuss it. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I'm wishing you all a very good Venus in Libra season. I hope you enjoy it. It is extra sweet. Make sure you let me know in the comments below what you're intending to do during this transit. Do you have aesthetic stuff planned? Are you changing your wardrobe? You know, are you planning trips? Like, what are you doing during this particular transit? And where is Libra in your chart? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We are here all the time giving you the updates on what's going on in the cosmos, and we have some good stuff this week, so you definitely want to make sure you're subscribed. If you want to learn more about me and my work or my private sessions, or if you'd like to learn astrology, check out my website below at beyondtheveiltarot.com. There you can see my availability. I'm taking clients now in November and December of this year. So if you know that you want an end of the year reading, or if you've got birthdays coming up, check that out. But I also teach tarot and astrology. So if you'd like to learn how to read just like me, I've got a beginner's level 101 and a 201 to learn how to read transits. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me. I'll catch you guys back here next time. Enjoy this transit, and go and spread the love this week. Take care.